We actually did have someone wander off in Nassau, and that was kind of, it was like, okay. Oh my gosh, we almost left him.
Hey everyone, I'm Jen Santos, and this is Mayhem and Method, where event pros tell the real story of what happened and what it reveals about how events actually work. Welcome back to another episode of Mayhem and Method. And today I am here with Kelly Burhop, who is a senior lead and event technologist at Sound Planning, Meeting and Events. Thank you for being here, Kelly.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I am absolutely delighted to bring you here, and I love the fact that we get to work together now on a regular basis. What is your favorite on-site or hotel room comfort hack?
I think when I was thinking about this, I'm like, I definitely pack like my own pillowcase. There's something about like hotel sheets that make me feel like I'm not like sleeping on my own pillow. So I usually bring that. And then I've also just been bringing kind of like my own tea. It feels like anything that they put in there is not really that great. I know I've stayed at extended stays for a while, but just having my own kind of like Bengal tea at night has also been kind of my comfort item, if you will.
I love that. The idea of a pillowcase has never occurred to me. I know people that bring their pillows, and I don't really care, but the pillowcase idea is super interesting because I have like these super chic-y sheets because I live in Brazil and it's really hot here, and so I need special sheets. But now I'm used to them. When I go to a hotel, I'm like, these things are itchy.
Yeah.
And then I bring pre-ground cold brew, and I make cold brew every night in my hotel room, so I have it for the next day.
I'll have to take a note of that because, I definitely hate hotel coffee.
I hate hotel room coffee, and I don't like seeing the public before I've had coffee. So going down and waiting at a Starbucks line is like a non-starter. So this is my newest thing, is bringing the pre-ground cold brew.
Nice.
So, okay. Well, so let's get into the main part of our conversation here. And just to remind you about the setup is we're going to just take a couple of minutes and give us kind of like the few sentence like summary of how this thing ended. And then from there, we'll kind of back up into what happened before what happened. So Kelly, tell me your story for today.
Yeah. So probably a few years ago, there was an event that we were on a cruise ship. And one of the major things that we really didn't account for was Wi-Fi when you're not on the ship, and being able to communicate with all of the like 3,000 attendees that we were supposed to be communicating with. And you can imagine just having this kind of black hole every time someone went to port, and then hoping people came back. So, yeah.
So tell me, why is it you didn't have Wi-Fi, like, or cell service or any sort of reception, like when you guys like did a port stop, which is what I'm assuming what happened. Like, why was that not a thing?
Yeah, I think ultimately, so I was managing the event mobile app, and at the end of the day, we told all of our attendees like, hey, we're on the water, so to avoid roaming fees, everyone just switched to Wi-Fi. And it was kind of like the call of the team to like, tell the employees like, hey, we don't really want to go over and have to pay for roaming fees. So Wi-Fi should be sufficient. And then ultimately, when we would land at different stops, they were like on islands, like in the Bahamas. And so if you weren't close to the ship, the Wi-Fi didn't reach where we were at. And so it was funny. We were trying to, tell everyone like, hey, time to come back to the ship. And then we realized like no one was getting any of those push notifications because they weren't connected to the Wi-Fi to receive them.
Right. So, I mean, how many port stops did you guys have on this trip? Roughly 4, 8, 2?
It was 2. It was like a 3-day, a 3-day event.
Okay. So after the first one, like, how did the first one, like, walk me through what happened at the first one as like the realization happened. You had kind of like, oh, oops moment, probably not the words that were used, but something similar. Like, walk me through that realization and the conversations that were had. I'm just super curious about this because I can totally see that happening. Yeah. And I want to hear it.
Yeah, the first one was the Royal Caribbean's kind of main island that they own. And so it was essentially everyone kind of getting on the island and having like a fun day with the team. So it wasn't intentionally meant to be like heavy content or like be glued to the mobile app. It was more like, go out, there's going to be food, bring your bathing suit. Like it's meant to be more interactive. So I don't think we really realized it until I was like trying to get to an activity, just like helping the events team. And I was like, oh, I can't like talk to anyone. And we found like, I ultimately just turned my roaming on because it was like, I need to be able to talk to the team and like get to them. And so we then found out like, oh, okay, this isn't just like an isolated incident. This is, everyone that doesn't have Wi-Fi is, not getting these communications. Luckily, everyone was done on, the island, and we all got back to the ship just fine. And I don't think it dawned on us though, like to like put some sort of contingency plan in place. It was really just like, I don't know, kind of like a thought floating out there. And so we didn't really plan for the next stop, honestly. Yeah. And then like the next stop was at Nassau, like at the Capitol. And we were just in the amphitheater, and we were like collecting donations. And then there was going to be like live music and again, food to just kind of hang out. And these are the two stops where both ships would be able to like intermingle, if you will. So like this whole time we've had separate attendee groups the whole time. So we were sending unique push notifications to each individual group. And so like when we got onto the island, we were like, oh, that's right. Like no one's getting this update to like remember to bring because we were collecting like children's coloring books for the donation. And we were like, oh, I didn't get that. Like why? Oh, we're not connected to Wi-Fi. And so it was like one of the ships was kind of close by. So some people were getting it, but then others weren't, because they weren't on that ship because they didn't have that ship's Wi-Fi. So it's just like one of those things that was like, yeah, we totally accounted for it on the ship, but like we didn't really account for it when we got off the ship, which we didn't think was going to be huge because it's just like a couple of hours off the ship. But at the end of the day, I now know that, and I'm not gonna, I'll have that on my work back schedule, if you will, to like plan for that.
Got it. Okay. So you had two ships, which is also interesting, and I hadn't heard that part. So how did the because you were running the mobile app for effectively both ships, right?
Yeah.
So exactly. How did the Wi-Fi work between the two ships?
So the ships themselves had like a streaming function that they were connected. So like we didn't need like those individuals like kind of talking to the other ships, but we did have everyone in one activity feed in the mobile app so that they could talk with other people that were on another ship. We really didn't see people doing that though. Like I think a few times, like when we first set up the app, people were like, oh, what ship are you on? What ship are you on? And we decided to kind of put like a little icon by their name to be like, the blue ship is, the Freedom. And then the purple ship is, I can't remember the other name of the ship now. But essentially a visual way to be like, oh, okay, like Kelly's on the blue ship. And that way people knew like, oh, okay, I might not run into them on the ship, but maybe we can meet up on the islands when we stop, kind of thing. But yeah, we essentially purchased like the Wi-Fi packet. Like, have you ever been on a cruise ship before?
I have, but it was a very, very long time, very long time ago.
Yeah. My brother just recently went, and it was like, do we purchase the Wi-Fi package? Do we not? So like as an event team, we were like, we're going to purchase, kind of the standard Wi-Fi package, because ships don't have like breakout rooms like you would if you're at like a convention center. And so like the whole format of the event went to like small group sessions that were focused on talking about account-based marketing. And so people were just kind of in the restaurants, like talking in groups of 10. And so the app helped facilitate kind of those group conversations. So it wasn't like super Wi-Fi heavy needed in the first place. But it definitely was like used a lot on the ship as the way for people to communicate, essentially.
Right. No, that makes sense. And after I asked the question, I realized, oh, wait, the push notifications are still hitting the internet and they're going to the server and then the server sending them out. So that was a silly question on my part, but
you're good.
So we'll move on from that. So 2 ships, 2 sets of push notifications. You go to, I'm still going to this island things. My brain is still like, what exactly happened there? So you all get off for the activities.
Yeah.
And then, so that was the Royal Caribbean island, and they didn't have Wi-Fi on the island, or you guys just didn't even think to ask?
I don't think we needed it because like I said, at the end of the day, we were there to kind of like swim. Like it wasn't like, oh, we're going to have, they even used a bullhorn to like talk to people. So it wasn't like there was a stage to be like, let's talk about, our company before we go swim. Like it was meant to be kind of recreational in nature. So it's like one of those things where you balance, like, do we want people to be on their phones or do we want them swimming kind of thing?
Right. No, that makes sense. And nobody wandered off.
No, not at that island. We actually did have someone wander off in Nassau, and that was kind of, it was like, oh my gosh, we almost left him. Like, and we told them like before they got on the island, like, hey, we're just here at the amphitheater. Like we didn't take over Nassau. Like, so that was one of the things that was kind of one of those, risks that we documented, like maybe people don't come back, but our security team was great and they were on it and they were able to find him and get him back before the ships left port.
Holy cow. So so I got a couple of questions on that one. So how were you able to track whether everybody was on the boat or not?
I mean, you can see like with Wi-Fi, the number of devices that come back. And then on top of it, in a ship at the bottom level or whatever, like you have to essentially, it's like going through TSA all over again. So you have to bring your identification with you because you're essentially, I don't know how maritime like travel policies kind of are. I had to get a crash course for that event, but like essentially everyone has to get checked back in. So they have a whole manifest knowing like, okay, Kelly Burhop came back, Jen Santos came back, but like Bob did not come back. Like he is not checked in. So that's how they kind of found and flagged him that that person wasn't back. And so we had to kind of scramble and go look for him.
Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. It's been so long, right? Because you're effectively leaving the country, you're effectively entering and leaving the country again. Right. So you would need to have your passport. And somehow in my head, that wasn't necessary because this was a private event, which I realize is an utterly ridiculous thing to think, but that's what my brain had done. Okay. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you had told people not to wander off. And then we'll call him Bob for lack of a better name, right? But then Bob decided, no, I'm just going to go wandering off anyhow. Like just.
Yeah. Like the port essentially is just like this long dock, if you will. And then we had, just like you would, like if you're at like a conference center, like stanchions to like get people to go where they are. And we actually walked through part of the city. They had like all of their little kind of huts where they're selling stuff to you, kind of like it reminded me of Mexico, like when you would see like people selling blankets or goods and things. And so there was, places where you could walk off in a certain direction and get into the city. And we even had kind of like the band up on stage tell that again, like, please don't go into the city. This is where, we are staying. We didn't contract the whole city. And it's for your safety. Not that it's unsafe, but it was just more like, this is our space. So he wandered off. Yeah.
Funny. But there's always that one guy, right? Or not necessarily a guy. There's always that one person. Yeah. It's like, I've been out on Instagram again more lately, and like they show those videos of the cruise runners all the time, right? There's these people, like boarding is at 4:30 and you see people walking back quickly and then more quickly, and then you see the cruise runners, and I'm like, that would be fun to just watch the cruise runners all the time. And that's what I'm envisioning in my head now, is like Bob and the security team running back. But like, would you actually have left Bob behind, or like, was that an honest consideration?
I mean, I've been told that has happened before, like, and honestly, I don't know how he would have gotten home. Like, I guess, it's kind of crazy to me. Like, I mean, personally, I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to know what time it is so that I don't miss us departing.
Yeah.
But obviously he did not care.
He did not care. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like with cruise runners, right? Like if you're on a Carnival cruise line or whatever and you
Right.
miss the ship, like you're on your own. You get a helicopter, you run whatever you need to get to the next port. But
Yeah.
on a company event, I would assume like the risk is completely different. Like if Bob had, if you guys just hadn't found Bob, but you had to be back by noon the next day, like,
Yeah. I
like
think
was there a conversation? Yeah, go on. Yeah.
No, I was just like our security team, there was like a dedicated security, division within the company. And so we always have like 3 or 4 of our direct security teams at our events. And they always kind of connect with local enforcement. So I would see them potentially leaving one of our security guys on the island and then figuring out how to get them back if they weren't able to find him. But they were an amazing team. Like any other company, I don't know if they would have done that or had that much security, but it's one of those things like we have to account for employee events and make sure employees are traveling safely. So that was kind of the vibe of the event. So yeah.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense. Actually leave somebody behind. I like that.
Yeah.
So like post event, then like what was the post event conversation and like the TLDR on having events on cruise ships? Not just one, but 2. Like what was the company opinion after the fact?
It was interesting. It was kind of mixed because one, when people hear like, oh, it's an employee event and we went on a cruise, it's kind of like, okay, maybe we shouldn't. I mean, the optics of it probably wasn't the best. But it actually was like 60% less expensive than if we were to like go to a hotel. And it was right after the pandemic. Like we were all kind of letting up on all of our travel restrictions. So it was a worldwide, like we had attendees coming from all over the world to the different ports. So Miami and, oh my gosh, what was the other one in Florida? But so that we had 2 different ports of entry. So, to go to both those ships. But yeah, they really enjoyed the fact that one, everyone was there. Like you can't leave. Essentially you're on a ship together. And they really liked the format of all of us being in like cohorts, if you will. That was probably the most intensive build of the actual event app because everyone had a unique schedule. So it was about 760 unique groups that had kind of a facilitator, and then they would go through a workshop, which was printed, which it was like, I don't remember the last time we printed, booklets of information before, but it was meant to be very like, we are here to get the company leveled up on account-based marketing. And I think that was really successful. It was really nice to have the app set up to have that group chat within it. So individuals that might have never worked together, like we had to have a cross section of like comms, marketing, sales, like, and a representative from each of those departments within each group. And there wasn't a tool really managing that. It was literally Excel spreadsheets of like, oh, okay, Kelly's in comms, Jen's in marketing, and oh, Jen couldn't go, so now we have to backfill her role, and now we have to rejigger all the groups. So it was just one of those things where it was like our registration tool was really great, got everyone registered, but then the mobile app became the main hub of the whole event for people to engage with each other. So
wow,
it was really fun. Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like, was this driven then primarily by cost? You said like a 60% cost savings.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what?
Yeah. Or else we would have, I mean, I could imagine them choosing like being on campus at like the company's like major campus locations. And that's just a whole other level of headache because you're like, scheduling conference rooms and maybe theater auditoriums, but then everyone would have been spread out and like kind of doing things in their major campus location. So it was either like, okay, it's either going to have to be really cost effective or we're going to have a virtual event essentially.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like if you stay on campus you definitely run the risk then of like people just wandering off and going about their daily jobs, right?
Right.
It's the same thing like going away for a writing retreat or an offsite, right? You need the offsite location to get people out of their day to day. So that makes a ton of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you're not with that team anymore, but is that something that they would do a cruise ship again? Did you get the sense that they would?
I did. Yeah. I feel like they would have. And the leadership team felt like it was a very successful event. The learning team that created the curriculum out of the HR organization, they felt like they really got everyone trained up in that format. And from an event perspective, we were on time, on budget, and it was a fairly straightforward, like logistical operation. They probably switched a few things up, like how the keynotes were organized, because there were multiple like theaters, but they weren't like going to hold the whole capacity of each ship in one theater. We had to split them out into different theaters and then have a streaming keynote in certain rooms. So I think that was kind of a drawback, having everyone split up for the keynotes. But other than that, they definitely were like, this is great. Let's do it again.
That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I know like... I feel like I've heard that Salesforce, not that they hold their conference on cruise ships, but they bring in cruise ships for extra housing in the San Francisco area as well. So when I heard you talk about cruise ships, I'm like, oh, Salesforce. So not even remotely the same. So again, Jen's brain going off in weird directions.
No, but I love like innovative ideas like that, because it's like, I think we even thought about that. We were in San Diego one year at the convention center, and that has all of the different kind of military base and like ships kind of dock there. And I was like, we were talking about like, if we needed overflow, could we overflow into some of these, ships or boats? I guess they're boats now, not ships, but in the local area. Cause I think we had like 14 hotels that were contracted for that particular event. And so we were really spread out when we were in San Diego. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes it just so hard on so many levels.
And then it's like, I was just gonna say, and then it's like, go to the San Diego Convention Center, and it's like, you're hoofing it, like, so you're coming in from the hotel, and then you're like, everything is there. But I've always managed kind of our internal sales kickoff, so it's always been like a group about 3,000 to 5,000 each year. So.
And how many team members were you working with when you did the cruise ship event that year?
They're probably internally at the company, we had a small core team, about 10 of us, I would say. At the time, I was more in an operational role. So I was managing a lot of our event technology vendors, and my team, I had like worked with them when I was like early in my career. So they were like, hey, we really don't have someone to manage the mobile app. Can you they called them like dot assignments, where we can like work with another team for a period of time. So that was how I got onto the project. But like a lot of the times we would kind of tap people each year to be like, hey, we kind of need some additional help in this space. Would you want to volunteer for the event? So I found it unique because I've learned now, like, not a lot of companies have a ton of large internal events teams anymore. I feel like it's kind of a one-person show, but like we had a good core team, about 10 of us, that would be on that one specific event to bring it to life.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And I was just thinking about like now, right, the AI technology has come so far. So if you create like a secure setup, right? Because you're talking about names and a lot of PII. But if you imagine, like, if you do that with some good tagging and everything, like this idea of doing like these targeted agendas would be such a completely different process today than what it was even a couple of years ago.
Yeah, no, I literally, I think probably last month I was like, if I could create an allocation tool that built cohorts, I feel like that's kind of a missing tool, if you will, in the event tech stack. And you could put in there like, oh, okay, we need someone from each department. They need to be from diverse countries. And then it could hold those rules for you. And then you could say like, oh, the comms team only gets 100 seats and the sales team gets 1,000 seats. And then as people come and go, oh my God, like that would have been like having that tool would have been a godsend, because like if you can imagine pivot tables and Excel spreadsheets of all this data, it's just like, oh, my brain's going to explode.
I can't imagine that, because I've done stuff like that before, and it is not fun. But now I'm like, ooh, what could I vibe code to do that? Right now, this is what my brain does.
Yeah. So. Yeah. No, and I feel like there's something too about cohorts that I don't really see that often at larger events these days, and my brain is now kind of going back to like, how do we create experiences where we kind of force people together that maybe they wouldn't have interacted, and not like in a matchmaking way, but kind of in like, this is your little core team that you're going to hang out with for this event, and we were purposeful about it, and maybe you'll get something more out of it because you created this small little community that maybe you wouldn't have if you were just going by yourself.
Yeah. No, I like that. Like, I've gone to events where they've done like birds of a feather, like lunches or topics, right? But then I'm like, okay, that was a half hour and everybody's shoving food in their mouth at the same time. So no real conversation happened. But if you had like 2 or 3 days with the same 10 people, then you build those relationships, and then you take that back to your day-to-day work. And it's like, well, I got to know Kelly really well on that. And I think now I can reach across the proverbial aisle and have this conversation, because you have a personal relationship, and that just strengthens the culture of collaboration across the entire organization. I really, really like that. And I think it is super, super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And it could even be really high touch. Like if someone showed up and you're like, okay, come over here. Your cohort is waiting for you over, in this restaurant, and you're going to have a quick little, maybe not a happy hour, but like some sort of reception where you all can meet each other in person. And then you're like off to the races together,
Yeah. No, that is super cool. Well, Kelly, I want to thank you for your time today. This was a really interesting conversation to hear about, the cruise ship and the logistics of that, and the surprises that came to your team, and how you guys handled it so well. And now I really just want to get off the call and go vibe code something. So I would love to have you tell my audience about where they can connect with you and learn more about you and what you do.
Yeah. So I am on LinkedIn. I'm trying to share ideas as much as I can there. So you can find me under Kelly Burhop. I also am writing on Substack right now. So I called my publication The Burhopper. And it's just kind of ideas that I have floating in my brain that maybe I can't like bring to fruition, but I want to get out into the world. So I'd love if anyone wanted to read the ideas I have and tell me if they're wrong or right, or riff, and we can vibe code to get like anything like that. So that was kind of my goal with that Substack. So awesome. Those are my 2 spots.
No, I love your Substack, and the fact that you're just like, here's a great idea. Does somebody want to do something with it? It's such a generous kind of gift back to the community. So thank you for that. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Have a good one, Jen.
Okay. Bye. Thanks for listening in to another roller coaster someone else rode so you don't have to. If you enjoyed this conversation, please take a moment to rate, review, subscribe, and share so other event pros can find the show. Until next time, tame the mayhem.
Audiotocracy.